Your gastroenterologist checks your iron and maybe your B12. Your naturopath wants you on 15 supplements and you're still exhausted. Here's how to actually figure out what your body needs when your gut won't cooperate. Hi, I'm Kate, and today we're talking about nutrient deficiencies in Crohn's disease, how to test for them properly, and how to supplement when your gut can't absorb things the normal way. Now, this matters because you can't build remission on an empty tank, and guessing what you need is expensive, overwhelming, and often completely off target. When my son was first diagnosed, his ferritin was in single digits. He was grey, exhausted. His gastro said, take iron tablets, but they made him so nauseous he couldn't keep them down. Meanwhile, I had a naturopathic colleague suggest he needed 12 different supplements, and I'm looking at this kid who can barely eat, thinking, gosh, there's got to be a smarter way. And in my practice, I see this pattern constantly. People come in with a shopping bag full of supplements they've been told to take. Someone tested their hair, or they read about leaky gut, or their friend with Crohn swears by this brand and they're spending hundreds of dollars a month on things their body might not even need or be able to use. Meanwhile, the deficiencies that actually matter, the ones that keep you tired, foggy, and unable to heal, aren't being addressed properly because no one's testing the right things or choosing forms that actually work when your gut's compromised. Here's what most people get wrong. They think it's either accept that Crohn's means you'll always be deficient or take everything just in case. The real issue is this. Crohn's absolutely does make you vulnerable to specific deficiencies, but which ones depends on where your disease is, what you're eating, what medications you're on, and how active your inflammation is right now. You can't supplement your way out of active inflammation. That's the medical side, and it needs proper treatment. But you also can't build tissue, make energy, or support your immune system when you're running on empty. The goal isn't to take every supplement under the sun, it's to identify your actual deficiencies, understand why they're happening, and choose supplementation strategies that work with your gut, not against it. And here's the thing that changes everything. When your gut won't absorb properly, the form of the nutrient and the route it takes matters more than the dose. Taking more of something your damaged intestine can't absorb is just expensive pee and extra gut irritation. So let me walk you through the deficiencies that matter most in Crohn's, how to test for them properly, and how to supplement when absorption's an issue. So first, get the right tests, not just the standard ones. Your GI will usually check iron studies and maybe B12. That's a start, but it's actually not enough. So here's what you actually want to request. And yes, you can ask for these. For iron, don't just look at hemoglobin. You want ferritin, which shows your iron stores. If your ferritin's below 30, you're functionally deficient, even if you're not anemic yet. You also want transferrin saturation. It shows whether you're actually getting iron to your cells. For B12, serum B12 can look normal, even when you're functionally low. Ask for different tests because sometimes your cells aren't getting enough B12. My son's serum B12 was fine, but his MMA was elevated, which meant his cells were starving for it. Vitamin D. Get the 25 hydroxy vitamin D test. You want to be above 75, ideally between 100 and 150. Most people with Crohn's sit around 50 and wonder why they're tired and getting every virus that goes around. Now, zinc and magnesium. These are tricky because your blood levels don't always reflect what's in your tissues. Red blood cell magnesium is more accurate than serum. For zinc, if you're having skin issues, slow wound healing, or hair loss, test it. If it's low to normal and you have symptoms, well, then you probably need it. Get these tested when you're in a flare and then retest 3 to 6 months after you've been supplementing. That's how you know if your strategy is actually working. Understand why you're deficient. It changes the solution. This is where it gets really practical. If your inflammation's in your terminal ileum, you're going to struggle with B12 and bile acid absorption. That's not a take a B12 tablet situation. You might need patches or injections because that part of your gut can't do the job. If you've had resections, especially of the ileum, same thing. My husband had his terminal ileum removed. He'll need B12 injections for life. No amount of oral B12 will fix that because the part that absorbs it is gone. If you're on a low residue diet because of strictures, you're probably low in magnesium and zinc. They're in the whole grains, nuts, and seeds you're avoiding. That's not about taking more vegetables, it's about strategic supplementation. If you're on steroids, they trash your vitamin D, calcium, and magnesium. If you're on a biologic, you might need extra zinc to support immune function. The medication you're on changes what you need. Choose forms and routes that bypass the problem. This is where most people waste their money. Taking oral iron tablets when your duodenum's inflamed is like trying to fill a car through a broken fuel cap. It's not getting in, and you're just making a mess. So here's what actually works. For iron, if iron tablets or oral tablets make you nauseous or your levels won't budge, talk to your doctor about infusions. They bypass the gut completely. In Australia, they're covered by Medicare, if you meet the criteria. My son went from barely functional to playing sport again after 2. It was night and day. For B12, if your terminal ileum's affected or you've had surgery, skip the tablets again. Use things that absorb through the mucous membranes in your mouth, or use patches, or ask your GP about injections. In Australia, you can get a prescription for B12 injections and do them at home. They're cheap and they work. For vitamin D, this one's fat soluble, so if you're not absorbing fats well, you'll struggle. Take it with your fattiest meal of the day. If your levels still won't shift, ask your doctor about a loading dose, like 50,000 IU once a week for 8 weeks, and then retest. Some people need much higher doses than the standard recommendations. For magnesium, oral magnesium can be a disaster if you're prone to diarrhea. Magnesium oxide is the worst culprit. Use magnesium glycinate instead, it's much gentler. Or try topical magnesium oil on your skin. It's absorbed transdermally and completely bypasses your gut. My son uses it before bed. It helps him sleep and he doesn't get the gut upset. For zinc, use zinc picolinate or zinc glycinate. They're better absorbed and less likely to cause nausea. Take it away from iron because they compete for absorption. Point 4 is don't supplement blindly. Work with your levels. I see people taking mega doses of everything because they read it's good for their inflammation. And here's the problem. More isn't always better, and some nutrients compete with each other. High-dose zinc can deplete copper. High-dose iron can block zinc absorption. Taking calcium and magnesium together reduces absorption of both. This is why you test, supplement strategically, and then retest. If your ferritin's at 15, yes, you need iron. If it's at 80, you probably don't, and taking more can cause oxidative stress. If your vitamin D's at 40, you need supplementation. If it's at 120, you're fine. Don't add more just because someone said everyone with Crohn's needs it. Work with your levels. Supplement what's low. Retest to make sure it's working. Adjust the form or dose if it's not. Now, food first, where it's realistic. I'm not going to tell you to get all your nutrients from food when your gut's a mess and you're living on white rice and chicken, because obviously that's not realistic. But when you can tolerate them, These foods are nutrient dense and easier on the gut. Bone broth for minerals and collagen, well cooked eggs for B12 and zinc, smooth nut butters for magnesium, cooked carrots for vitamin a ripe banana for potassium. If you're in remission and tolerating more, great, add back variety. But if you're flaring, supplements that bypass your gut are your friend. There's no shame in that. You're working with the gut you have, not the gut you wish you had. So, where does this leave you? Instead of accepting that you'll always be exhausted and deficient or spending a fortune on supplements you're guessing at, you've got a clear plan. Test the deficiencies that matter in Crohn's, understand why they're happening based on your disease location and medications, and choose forms and routes that actually work when your gut won't absorb properly. My son's ferritin is now sitting around 90. His energy's back. He's not grey. My husband gets his B12 injections every 3 months like clockwork, and he hasn't had a deficiency issue in years. This isn't about perfection. It's about working with your body strategically, not against it. You can't build remission on an empty tank, but you also don't need to take everything. You need to take the right things in the right forms based on what your body actually needs right now. Now, if this helped, share it with someone who's drowning in supplements and still feeling terrible. And if you want figuring out your specific deficiency picture and building a supplement plan that actually makes sense for your gut, that's exactly what we do in my one-on-one coaching and inside the Crohn's Method community. I'll see you in the next video and have a beautiful day.